In case you missed it, it's an online world, and I can't imagine now living without it. It's hard to believe that it's only been really less than about a decade that we didn't really have everything on the internet. Fortunately, QuickBooks has these features, and it has had for quite a while. What that means is when I set QuickBooks up to work with my bank accounts, I can download transactions at 3 in the morning on a Saturday, basically anytime I want, 24/7, 365. In addition, if you have these features enabled, you also can do things like write electronic checks, make electronic transfers, and even pay your employees online. In this chapter, we'll take a look at how to set up QuickBooks to utilize online banking services. Shakespeare once asked, "What's in a name?" And when we're talking about online banking and online services, pretty much that puts it all in a nutshell. In order to work with online services, first we need to establish a network connection. One of the things that I can't help you with is the fact that you need to have an ISP or an Internet Service Provider and Internet Explorer in order to use this. Most of us do, especially if you're taking this type of a course, so we'll assume that that's already happened. What we need to do now is get help establishing the Internet connection from QuickBooks standpoint. In order to do so, let's move up to the Help menu and choose Internet Connection Setup. How do I want to connect to the internet? Well, we all want to connect as fast as possible, but that's not one of our choices. It says use the following connection, or use my computer's internet connection setting to establish a connection when this application accesses the internet, or I don't have a way to connect to the internet. Please give me more information on setting up an internet account. Well, we are not going to go into all of the networking and internet working that we can on computers. We're going to take the easy way out, and that's going to be to use the computer's current settings. I just wanted to show you where this was, so if there's any issues or you have challenges opening up online features, this is where you want to go. Most of us, though, at this point probably already have internet enabled on our computers, so it won't be an issue. We'll just click on Next. This tells me that my computer is configured to use a direct connection to the internet. That's very good. Now all I have to do is click Done. And if that's the hardest thing we have to do, then we're in really good shape. Actually, none of this is really very hard. It just a little tedious because we have to read through a lot of screens and put in a lot of information. Once you have your internet connection, the next thing you need to do is to set up online banking. And that's a little bit more involved. But of course, we can probably figure out that we're going to go to the banking menu to do that. And we'll come down and we will choose to go to Online Banking, which has its own little flyout menu, and then Set Up Account for Online Services. It gives us a little message that tells us all of the open QuickBooks windows will be closed in order to do this, so we'll say that's okay, yes. And then we get into the dialog box for actually setting up our account. Select your QuickBooks account. I'm going to do this for my business checking account. And then Next. Have to enter the name of our financial institution or look for it from the list. And this list is ever growing. I remember when they first started online banking, there were only a few entries. Now I see banks in here that I have never even heard of before. It's kind of an interesting little browse to see what all of the banks are. I'm going to pick just a major bank, not that this is a connection or an ad or anything else for one of these banks. Let's see what we can find here. An awful lot of bank ofs, so the B section is pretty big. Here's a hint for you. If you don't want to go through all of them, start typing the name of your bank. There we go, that's easy. I didn't even know Chevy Chase had a bank. Anyway, evidently they do. All right, we're going to choose Chase as our bank for now. As I said, there's not any particular reason I chose that, just one that came to mind. Once I select the bank itself, then I can say Next. If you get any trouble with your internet, go ahead and have it retry. And once it gets done updating everything it needs to, we can go ahead and choose our financial institution's connection. There are two options. One is called Direct Connect and the other is called Web Connect. Basically, the difference is Direct Connect is just that. Through the QuickBooks interface, you'll be able to get all of your information. If you require Web Connect, it's not any big deal, but it's actually going to need to open up a web browser, access your bank's website, and then it will be able to connect and get the information. I'm going to go ahead and leave mine at Direct Connect and say Next. You need to be able to activate your account in QuickBooks, so they want to know if you've contacted your bank to activate your account for QuickBooks Online. The answer is either a yes or a no. I've already done that, so I'll click Next. And now you need to put in some identifying information. This is not necessarily the way you sign on to the bank's website, so check with them to make sure that you have the proper usernames or customer IDs and passwords to get this type of a connection. Tell them that you're working with QuickBooks and this is what you're trying to do. As with anything else that you sign up for, you'll be asked to put in your password 2 times. Then we'll click Sign In. At this point, I'm going to have to stop because I don't actually have credentials with Chase to log into this account. The rest of it we'll have to show you a little bit different way.